Welcome to Reality of Faith and Wisdom. My name is Yuri, and today we're going to be talking about money. And the title of this podcast, Money Talk for Beginners. I haven't talked about money when we started this podcast and until now, and it's been in my heart already for a while to talk about money. And so I'm going to go kind of dive right in. And let me start with this, that most of our struggles in life is because we don't understand money and how it works. Most of the divorce, all the statistics and stuff, when people get divorced, the number one thing is money. The number one thing that brings division in the family, within even friendship, within your circle of friends, your future. I mean, something that can really destroy you, bring division, depress you, and keep you in the prison of this gloom and doom is money. Money is the number one thing. And so number one, I want to start with and say this, that money requires purpose. Money requires purpose. If you don't have a purpose for your money, you will always lose it. It will always be lost. If purpose is not connected to money, it will always be lost. Now, have you ever considered that and look when you read the Bible, how detailed the Bible is? You can see that when Jesus fed 5,000, he gathered 7 baskets. When he fed more people, he gathered 12. There was 120 gathered in the upper room. There was 3,000 saved when Peter preached. There was when Master gave to his servants, he gave 5 talents, he gave 2, he gave 1, and when they came back, they said, hey, your 5 made another 5, your 2 made another 2, your 1, I didn't do anything with 1, I dug it in the ground. But even in that story, when he gave them talents, and that's money, he gave them with a purpose, right away, with a purpose to invest. And not just spend it, not just dig it in the ground. You see, our American purpose for money is to pay bills and to spend it on whatever we spend on vacations, on other things, our pleasure. We don't have purpose beyond those two things. As long as I pay my bills, as long as I go on vacation once a year, as long as I buy some things for myself so I feel good, there is no other purpose. So money requires purpose. Number 2, to build wealth requires risk. And here's the thing: if you're one of those Christians, or if maybe you're not Christian, then that you think that money is not for everybody, or maybe if you're Christian and you're thinking, well, God is, the money is evil. No, money is not evil. Love of money is evil. And so, and actually over and over in the Bible, it says that the righteous man will leave inheritance to their children's children. Every man of faith in the Bible, they were blessed. They were wealthy. They understood money. They understood how to operate it, how to invest it, and all these things. And so, but when it comes to money, it requires risk. It needs purpose, but then number 2, it requires risk. Without risk, there will be no wealth. In Luke 14:28, it says this, but don't begin until you count the cost. For who would begin construction of a building without first calculating the cost to see if there is enough money to finish it? And cost is risk. And so, sometimes you have all of it. Sometimes you take loans. Sometimes you hope to have it by a certain time, but you have to calculate it, and cost, risk, how long it will take, the time, and all these things. You have to understand that there is risk. But without risk, there is no gain. There is no future. You will always just going to be kind of this flat line, paying the bills for the rest of your life and die. You see, understanding the cost requires also not only understanding the risk, but really understanding that when failure comes, it's okay. You can come back up. It's like stocks. I mean, they go up, they go down, they go up. In my life, I've failed so many times. But you know what? Failure is experience. When I failed, I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to do this again, or I'm not going to do X, Y, Z. Now, if you don't do anything, you're risking of losing your time, your precious time that God gave you. If you're not doing anything about your situation, about your marriage, your future, your retirement, if you're not going to do anything about that, you are risking losing your time and life. That's it. But if you do something and you take a risk, even if you fail, you have experience that you can share, that you can learn from, that you can now apply into your life. You see, the reason nothing changed in our lives because we are willing to tolerate it. It can be a few other things. Sometimes we just don't want change. We're good where we're at. I'm good. I'm fine with just living from paycheck to paycheck, paying the bills. And on the outside, we're good. On the inside, there's so much more. Man, we want to live like someone else. We want to have more. We wanted to have to live a life with ease, knowing that you have savings, you have other things. Now, sometimes we're just comfortable, and comfortable staying in this state of being comfortable in life. Sometimes that's your greatest enemy. Because when you're comfortable, you don't want anything else in life. You just kind of exist from that point. It's like you've stopped learning. If you stop learning in life, then get ready to die. Sometimes nothing changes in our life because we're afraid of failure. But most of the time, because we're tolerating the situation that we are in. If you cannot change if you're willing to tolerate the situation that you're in. Nothing will change. Now, so number one, money requires risk. Number two, to build wealth money requires purpose. To build wealth requires risk. And number three, money needs consistency, planning, determination, and understanding that God is in charge of everything. That should be in the beginning. But money requires consistency. Once you learn something, you have to apply into your life. Once you learn something about how to manage your money, what's liability, what's assets, how to invest, and what investments you need to. Once you start understanding some things, you need consistency. You need planning. Thinking about not just everybody's thinking about maybe one day retirement, I'll have my Social Security and nothing else. That's the only thing. If you can plan for your tomorrow and your 5 years from now together with your wife and pray about it and dream about it, God will help you. You plan, but God will lead you through these steps. That's in Proverbs. The Lord directs the steps. But we need to plan. So money requires consistency, planning, determination, and understanding that God is in charge of everything, or you will lose your heart, because where your money is, that's where your heart will be. Your heart will be callous. Now, in Proverbs 21:5, it says this: good planning and hard work leads to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. Very simple. I don't even need to explain this. Good planning and hard work. When you're planning, and where your money going to go, understanding how much you're going to get, understanding your budgets when you're planning. And hard work leads to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts leads to poverty. We don't even know sometimes in marriage how much money we're making. We don't even know how much money is going out. We don't even know how much our bills are. We don't understand. We just get that plastic square thing, rectangle little thing, and we just swipe. And we swipe our life away without understanding that you can do something with what God gave you. See, let me give you this analogy. The ocean, when people go to vacation, the majority of the time they go to ocean. That's like the main thing. Some people go to mountains, this and that, but let's pick ocean. Ocean can refresh you. Like truly refresh you. Spending time in the water and just being by the ocean, it can refresh your spirit, your mind. It can refresh you. It can feed you, guys. You can fish, right? You can fish. You can have some food. You can bathe in the ocean. It's salty, but you can. It'll give you rest to some extent, right? You can rest on when you're at the beach. Now, also the rip current in the ocean can pull you away. And can actually drown you or suffocate you. It can bring out your fears of drowning, or fears of suffocating, fears of hey, what's in there? The deep, the sharks. So it can do good things for you, or can actually do some harm to you. Now, but most of the people, when they go to ocean, when they go to vacation, there is a purpose. Okay, 6 months from now, they're planning, right? There's a purpose to rest, the plan to go. They don't just go. You don't just decide to swim in the middle of the ocean, a couple of miles out and just swim. You don't decide to just come from work and jump in the car and without any planning, grab everybody and go into the ocean, right? Without getting some maybe chairs, beach chairs, without putting shorts on, without, hey, let's plan, let's go, let's have a good, because you're going to ruin everyone else's time when you show up all dressed up to the ocean. So there's purpose, there's planning. Same thing with money. See, money works in the same way. Money can refresh you. It can buy your vacation. It can help you help someone else. When you help someone else, and especially when you give someone else money, and not just money, but when you help somebody else, it can refresh your spirit, because it's better to give than to receive. That's what Jesus said. And maybe buy something that you always wanted. So money can refresh you. It can feed you, right? You pay your bills. You go buy your food and all these things. It can give you rest. If you don't, truly, if you have money, you can stop working for a few weeks, or you can get away, and it can give you rest. You don't have to worry about living from paycheck to paycheck. Or money, same thing, can pull you away into constant worry of not enough. Or maybe drown you in a fear of losing everything, or being in a fear of being always broke. Right? Two spectrum to that. Maybe it can also bring out your fears of someone else stealing your possessions. Dollar will lose its value, or you might not be able to pay bills. So this one thing can bring good and can bring evil. So the money itself is not evil. And understanding, actually, knowledge and wisdom about money is godly. Now, number 4, money requires wisdom from God to sustain it, and constant learning to gain more. Let me repeat this again. Money requires wisdom from God to sustain it, and constant learning about money to gain more. God is the only one who can sustain your life, your future, your health, your financial situation. He's the only one who can sustain it, whether you believe God or not. Knowledge and understanding will increase your future. So you see, what worked today might not work tomorrow. What will work tomorrow might not work a month from now. The way money flows always changes. That's why you always have to learn constantly. You can't just, and I see so many people, they just kind of learn one way and they die within that one way. For some people it works. I'm not saying that, this is the only way, but you need to learn about money. You need to have understanding. Now, you need in talking about constant learning, and let me just read this. 2 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 11 and 12. It says, God said to Solomon, because your greatest desire is to help your people, and you did not ask for wealth, that's what we seek today, riches, that's what we seek today, fame, that's what everybody seeks today, or even death of your enemy, or a long life, but rather you ask for wisdom and knowledge to properly govern my people. I will certainly give you the wisdom and knowledge that you requested, but I will also give you wealth, riches, fame, such as no other king has had before you or will ever have in the future. You see, you need knowledge and wisdom, because wisdom of God can sustain you, but knowledge will propel you. Now, wisdom is better than a bonus check, man, or Friday, or getting paid. Because when you understand, when you have God's wisdom in your life and knowledge about the situation that you're in, man, life is beautiful. Life is amazing. Now you achieve one thing, you go to another, and it becomes the greatest journey of your life. Number 5, if God is not honored with money, you will never be satisfied. And let me tell you, all the friends that I know, and some just acquaintances, and some business people that I know, whether they are Christian or not, man, they honor God with their money. Even Hollywood stars, they start charity, they give to nonprofits because they understand that when you honor God with your money, God will bless it. You see, in Haggai, chapter 1, verse 6, it says this: you have planned much, but harvest little. You eat, but not satisfied. You drink, but are still thirsty. You put on clothes, but cannot keep warm. Your wages disappear as though you were putting them in pockets filled with holes. And that chapter continues to say you have to honor God's first in His house. You have to honor God with money because it's His, it's not yours. If you think it's yours, you'll become callous. Your heart will become rock, and you will die greedy. But if you honor God with money, God will give you more. He will sustain it. He will bless it. And you will understand how fruitful and amazing your life can be. So let me just recap it as I close. Number 1, money requires purpose. If you don't have purpose for your money, if you just if you're getting a check tomorrow or day after, and you don't have a purpose for that check and understanding where it goes and what you're going to do with it, then you're just going to spend it. You're never going to have it. So money requires purpose. Number 2, to build wealth requires risks. So when you have purpose, it requires risks. Now, number 3, money needs consistency planning. Planning is also you have to plan things. Pray, but plan. Money needs consistency, planning, determination, and understanding that God is in charge of everything. Number 4, money requires wisdom from God to sustain it and constant learning to gain it. And number 5, if God is not honored with your money, you will never be satisfied. I hope that starts some questions inside you, and I hope that you can actually maybe rewatch it. There is so much more when it comes to money. I came from a country that people didn't have any money. I mean, people didn't own anything. I grew up in a country where communists ruled, and government owned the land, the houses, and they just pay you just enough to kind of sustain your life. I came, and I'm glad, to be honest, I'm glad that I came from that background because I did not know anything about money. And when I finally started learning about money, I realized how much Bible talks about financial principles, how much knowledge is in the Bible. And when I started to apply that into my life, put purpose and take risk and pray and plan, but pray, understand that God's in charge, and all these things, man, my world changed. I own different businesses. I'm not calling myself wealthy. I'm wealthy in God. But my life changed completely. I don't live from paycheck to paycheck. I'm not struggling. I have money in the savings. I understand what liability, assets, investment is. I have different portfolios. I own different businesses. And you know what? If God is in the middle of it all, it will be blessed because you are honoring. You have purpose. You are honoring God. You have purpose. You take risk. You plan. You stay on the journey. And it's an exciting journey that God gave me. And I believe He can give the same thing to you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make His face shine on you, be gracious to you, turn His face towards you, and give you peace as you go on the journey of discovering about money and financial understanding. Now, share the podcast. If something spoke to you, if God spoke to you through this podcast, maybe you're not a believer, but man, something stuck with you. Share the podcast, share it on iTunes or any platform that you're watching. Please comment, and thank you for everyone that's been watching, and thank you for your messages and your comments and everything that I've already seen. God bless you.